Original.
I've already Googled it. It's not worth much.
From the 90s, I believe, this one.
From the 90s. You know that it's from...
My first ballet lesson.
You know it's old.
Go on.
Because she got her teeth out. They redesigned Barbie to have her mouth closed.
Oh, wow.
So
it's like every woman should be.
There you go. So Barbie, owned by the company Mattel. You know much about Mattel?
No.
They do a lot of toy stuff. Industry giants. Monopoly.
Industry leaders.
Monopoly on toys. Company was started by 3 people. One person, not important, because it doesn't show up in our story.
Oh.
The other 2 is a husband and wife couple.
I see.
Ruth and Elliot Handler. Right, they had some kiddies, which I guess is important to the story. Ruth noticed that her son always got to live out these kind of fantasies of what he wanted to do with his toys, whereas her daughter had nothing really, because baby dolls. Back in this is 1950s. Toys for little girls were like, what do you call it? Like maternity?
Yeah, maternal.
Yeah, like they were babies.
Practical, like babies, my first kitchen, my first...
Yeah, it was all about becoming a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas her son got to do whatever he wanted. So she thought, wouldn't it be great if we had like an adult toy instead of like a baby doll, like an adult doll. So her daughter could like live through the doll.
Well, I have heard Margot Robbie speak about that when premiered. She was like, before Barbie, little girls had no one to look up to. Barbie gave little girls eyes to the world of what they could be. Which is true.
You had to be a mum.
Yeah.
You had to play mum.
We don't know if Barbie was a mum.
Well, she wasn't.
No. She was the first doll for girls that showed a woman having a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she brought it to Mattel, the company, and they all said, no.
Yeah.
We don't like this idea. Can't be done. Girls like to play with little babies. They like to pretend to be mothers and all that. They don't want, a fully grown. Stupid idea, Ruth. Hit the road. Poor Ruth. And then they went on a family holiday with the kids. They went to Switzerland. And in Switzerland, there was an adult doll called Lily. Lily was a German doll. It was supposed to be for adults. So it was based on a comic. Kind of like a sexy comedy comic. And the whole idea was like, a man would buy it for his missus.
Yeah.
Do you want a little Lily? But what she found was kids were playing with the dolls, like dressing them up, and like, meh. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna buy 3 of these. She brought them back to America. She gave 1 to her daughter, and then she took 2 to Mattel and said, it works. This can work. Can we do it? So they decided to give it a try. So she went on to develop it. Now, to develop it, she employed the help of a man called Jack Ryan.
Okay.
He was originally like a missile developer.
Crikey.
So they brought him on board. But at this time, the company was still pretty small. And they couldn't afford to pay him like a rocket scientist wage.
Yeah.
Which he was used to. So instead, they gave him some royalties in the company. They decided to give him like 1.5% royalties, which isn't like a massive thing at the time, considering it was a pretty small company. Yeah. And he was about to develop this whole new doll. So then he got to work on the doll, and then he went to like Japan for a bit to develop the doll, brought it back, and then they released it to the world at the American International Toy Fair in New York City. On March the 9th, 1959.
Okay.
And it's interesting because this is also Barbie's birthday. Also interesting, the first Barbie doll wore a black and white zebra striped swimsuit and a top knot.
Which is
what she wore on the first one.
Margot Robbie said on the cliff that lots of people have matched. And what she wore a dress to the first premiere, which was that bit in a dress.
Did you know that was the reason?
What?
Because it was the first doll?
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't know it was the reason, and no one really explained it. I remember seeing the first trailer, and there was like no words.
And there was just kids playing with dolls, and then they threw them when they saw it.
Yeah, they were playing with like the baby dolls, right? And then she was like massive.
Yeah.
No one ever. I was always like, what?
No, it makes sense now, though, doesn't it?
It makes sense because that was the introduction.
Yeah, to Barbie.
But then I watched that and thought, why have they gone with like Barbie's like pink, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they reveal her
pinkness
in like
my first ballet lesson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of this black and white thing, I always thought that was a bit peculiar.
But it makes lots of sense now.
And throughout all the videos I saw, no one ever explained.
Well,
that was the introduction.
Here's the explanation.
It's a representation of the International Toy Fair of New York City in 1959.
Barbie's birthday.
Barbie's birthday. This is where they made like a good business choice, is this was the first one they started selling accessories for.
Aha.
So if you looked at like people like Gillette, they used to sell you the razor.
Yeah.
And then you had to buy the blades separate. So you get one customer who's going to keep purchasing things. And they thought, oh, seems so Barbie's an adult and kids want to live through her. Let's do this with Barbie. So they started bringing out accessories, like different clothes that she could wear. Marketing genius. This worked. Barbie grew. Then the company that owned Lily sued Mattel.
Yeah.
Because they said it was a complete rip-off.
Knew it would happen.
They
can't even say, no, it's not, because
it was pretty much a complete rip-off.
It was based on it.
If it's on the YouTube, I'm going to put the two side by side. I don't know what this missile developer was doing in Japan for so long. Because it looks...
Probably developing missiles.
It looks exactly the same. They settled out of court. 21 grand, which must have been a lot of money back then. Controversy came in. Smaller things. Like the proportions.
Yeah,
people always thought it was unrealistic proportions. However, do you know why she had such a skinny waist? Was because of the clothes that they made. Came from the same fabric as like real clothes.
And it's cut-offs.
Yeah, but if they make like a dress for Barbie and then put the dress on her, it's like bunched up, it don't look right. So they have to do like a super skinny waist and a super long neck.
Okay.
So that when there's a collar, and when you accessorize and when you layer, it looks more proportionate.
Okay.
If you see Barbie naked, it looks, oh, that's an unrealistic body expectation.
Yes, it does.
But if she was to be like human sized, she would have like an 8-inch waist and like a 2-foot neck.
Yeah, it's not right.
So yeah, it's difficult to compare.
Yeah.
But I get what they're saying. A lot of young girls are playing with this.
And she's quite slight.
But she has to be for the clones.
Yeah. Okay.
But I get what they're saying.
I understand.
One of the accessories was also like some scales.
Oh.
That permanently said £110. And a book that said how to lose weight. And then on the back of it said eat less.
Oh, no.
And they did like a limited edition version where she had like 4 phrases, you could say. They had like 260 phrases, and each Barbie got like a random 4 phrases. Okay. So none of them would say the same 4 phrases. And one of them was like, maths class is tough. And they was all like, you're saying maths is hard. You're adding on to the stereotype that girls don't like maths.
Truth. Truth in that. Hate maths. Rubbish. It's difficult. Like data though.
And she had a few changes throughout the decades. Like I said, the teeth got taken away.
Why?
And they got like a new developer, and he was like, I think she looks too like inviting with her mouth open. And he didn't like the little buck tooth look. Ken obviously came about because people were writing letters to say, Barbie needs a boyfriend. Which is why you said, if Barbie... Barbie, did they ever do a pregnant one? No, because for them to do a pregnant one, she would have to marry Ken.
Yeah.
To be able to get pregnant, to be able to have a baby. And if she married Ken, it would take away this thing of...
Independent woman.
Yeah, Barbie can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
So Ken was always meant to be like madly in love with Barbie. And Barbie was always like, he's my boyfriend, but...
Which is kind of what we've seen in the trailers so far, I guess.
Yeah, beach houses and...
Yeah.
You know, I'm an independent woman. So they could never get married.
Okay.
An important fact. Why Barbie's called Barbie.
Oh, why is Barbie called Barbie?
because when she was developing it, this right to the beginning of the story is, welcome to the story of Barbie, the couple, Ruth and Elliot Handler. They had some kids. Their daughter, who only played with baby dolls, was called Barbara.
Okay.
And her son, who got to play with whatever he wanted, was called Kenneth.
Barbie and Ken! Wow, we talk about keeping it within the family. Sorry for that.
Yeah, so then go back to where we are. So, as you remember, Barbie's called Barbie because of
Barbara,
her daughter. And Kenneth got introduced and got the name of
Ken
after
her son
called
Kenneth,
which is a little bit creepy that they were a couple.
Well, yeah, you just take your inspiration when you get it.
And it was based on. But you may remember me talking about the developer of Barbie.
The one that went to Japan and didn't really do anything.
Yeah, one Mr. Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Jack Ryan had 1.5% in the company, and at this point the company was doing very well thanks to the Barbie. And he's doing very well off the royalties, and they're like, oh, we should have just maybe got a loan or something, gave him a salary, because he's making at this time about 1 million a year, which is about 10 million a year.
Yeah.
So he's getting near on 900k a million per month.
Yeesh.
For doing basically nothing but helping develop the new Barbies. Also, he's got many of issues. First of all,
Imagine the war would do that.
Perhaps, but it was more to do that he was like addicted to sex and drugs and cocaine and all this stuff. So once he had loads of money, he went like a little bit. He got to relive all these fantasies that he had in his head. So he bought like a castle in Bel Air. And it's like the biggest house in Bel Air. And that's got like mass houses, right? He bought the biggest house there, turned it into a castle, got a moat built around it and a drawbridge. He used to throw like medieval banquets every Thursday. And everyone would come in and they would have to dress up and they would have jugglers there. And he would like crown a girl and be like, you're my girl for the night. And crown her. He had a wife and kids who would be on the other side of the mansion, like locked away.
Crikey.
And the story is that he developed Barbie from his own like sexual ambition.
That puts a dampener on everything, doesn't it?
So Barbie was actually his, like in the development offices, was just like Barbie in erotic poses all over the walls.
Oh no.
So he used to find girls to be his like real life Barbie. So he would pay for women to have plastic surgery to look like Barbie.
No.
And he had a wife this whole time.
What did his wife think about it?
She just stayed out of it.
Fair enough. Don't get involved.
He used to send women to fitness classes to get their calves more like Barbie.
I would smack him.
He had a sex dungeon in his castle. He used to throw orgies. He basically used to go for these women and make them look like Barbie. He'd be like, I'll pay for you to get...
Became a bit fixated upon Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he used to pay for girls to have like boob jobs and bleach their hair. He used to be like, you need to look like Barbie. You need to be Barbie. And then he would have them for like a week and he would be like, now I need a new Barbie. And he would go for... So it was always a little bit tarnished, the reputation, knowing that he developed the doll.
Yeah.
But it was actually...
Based on his fantasies.
He had a dial counter above the door, and every time a woman walked in, it would like pop up on 1 to 10 on how attractive she were. So like he would pull it, so when a woman came in, he'd be like, and then above her head it would be like, 9, come on in. So Mattel decided to like cut his royalties off, and then they had this long court battle, and he ended up getting paid off like 6 million. And then they were like, right, let's take him out of the story of Barbie. Later on, he ended up having a stroke, probably because due to all his drug use.
That's sad.
Yeah. And in 1993, he killed himself. He shot himself in the head.
Oh, crikey.
After watching a documentary about Ruth Handler, the one who started Barbie. And she never mentioned him in the documentary and never gave him credit for anything. So then he shot himself.
Oh, crikey.
Because he was like, Barbie was mine. And there was all this big argument because he also had a wife. His wife was called Barbara. And there was always arguing about who did what.
Eesh.
Why is it named Barbie? How much he actually... The truth is he did a lot because she couldn't bring the doll to life without him. And it was based on his own sexual fantasy. Right? But they cut him out completely. So he killed himself. And instead they focused on the story of the lovely couple.
And their children.
Ruth and their children. But their hands weren't clean either.
What?
Because then Ruth and Elliot would go through their own serious court battle. So Ruth used to fill trucks up with Hot Wheels, which was also owned by Mattel.
Hot Wheels leading the way. Hot Wheels!
And then they would send them off to like landfills and just bury them all.
Oh.
And then the whole point was that once they leave the factory, they're documented as a sale. So she was like filling trucks up, like millions of Hot Wheels, driving them off, throwing them out, bringing the trucks back, filling them up again. So
Ruth.
So all the companies...
That was ruthless.
It was ruthless and bad for the environment.
Yeah, very bad.
So all the she was going through this massive financial fraud thing. So she ended up getting removed from the company.
She's not making enough money off Barbie now.
Guess not.
Greed.
As did Elliot. So they both got removed from the company. So basically Barbie is a doll ripped off from an adult doll.
A sex doll.
Reimagined by...
someone's fantasies.
A sex addict and drug addict.
Yeah.
And then marketed by a fraudster.
Wow.
And that...
Do you know what, though? They've done all right.
And that is Barbie.
Wow.
Yeah.
You going to watch the film?
I'm watched the film. You going to watch the film?
Yeah, you can take me on a date.
No. You could take me?
No.
Be a good film. Margot Robbie's a good choice.
Great choice.
Yeah. Jack Ryan
almost like she produced it herself.
We're like, oh, she looks like Barbie.
She does.
So he would be all over her.
Yeah.
He would be, come to my castle.
You're my girl.
Yeah.